So we're here to solve this cross the streams by Jonas Gleim called 1 to 4. It has an eloquent quadrant-based theme where we've got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 all on their own, and this works within the whole cross the streams week where we've added a digit now. Yesterday's puzzle was 1, 2, 3, and this is now 1, 2, 3, 4. The first row that draws my attention is this one with 4 clue groups. If the question marks are as small as possible, just ones, this actually fully completes the group. The rows just adjacent to that no longer going to have a group of size 4 over on these cells, so there are 7 cells that could be part of the group of size 4, and so down here the cell is always part of a group of size 4, and over here we've got 1, or this cell from the question mark. Only these 5 cells are available for the group of size 4, so these center 3 of that group of 5 are part of this group. Looking vertically, I need to have a group that starts with no larger than size 3, so it can't start at this bottommost cell and come up, but it could start here and be 3 cells, so we mark this off. That quickly works with this group to the left, where we can't take any of these cells because we need 4 in the rightmost group here, and that will require the center 2 of the 6 cell stretch to be used. That marks off in this column that has a 1 on the bottom, this cell. So we've got to come back, we've got to still place a group of size 4 in the secondmost row from the bottom. And these 6 cells are the only place it goes. You can take these middle 2 and 2 more. Putting this in now interacts with this 3 clue up above. And we finish this. In the row right next to it, the column right next to it, we can't take these 3 as a starting set because it would form a 2 by 2 square. So we had to take these. And given this is the bottommost clue, that shades off the rest. And now actually completes where this 4 group goes. It adds in these extra cells for these 4 groups. It completes where this 4 group and the question mark go. 3, 3 coming up now that we've marked off the cell needs to take these and these. Marks off this. 3 coming from the top can't take these cells, could take this group or this group. We'll sort of think about that a little more in a bit. We're hitting the place where we're going to finally want to look at these 1 clues, and I think this 1, 1 asterisk 1 is an interesting column. And I'm going to turn on to help myself edge helper just for a bit, because I want to show you, for instance, we know at the top that these 1 clues are going to be 1 group, then an unused, then 1 group, and then unused. And this big group is this asterisk. And so across this space, we can't ever take more than a single cell in a row. So this sort of helps us see the constraints of the space. Down below, we need to take a single cell, but the single cell can't be crossing taking both of these. So we need a single cell here, but the only way to connect in is through this bottom. So this is the single cell. It finishes as 4. Coming to the leftmost column, we also have a place where we need to get that 1, 1, 1 to work, but we have another place where we need to actually divide and put in a single cell. That puts in this. Come up, we get these singletons to make this whole space work. For connectivity, this has to come over, this has to come over, this comes over, this comes over. We get this into the grid. This completes the 4. And I think that's a good resting point as we come back to some other clues. Now let's look at these 2s. They're the group that we have most ignored to this point. This 5th row needs to take 2 total groups of size 2, and we only get this one that's already in the grid. We could put another. We can't sort of shade these to make another work. So there's 1 on the left. These cells can't be involved in a group of size 2. So there's a group of size 2 here. So there's only this one on the right and this one on the left. And these are the full constraints in the grid. So that means for connectivity, this comes up, which means to get a group of size 1, this is unshaded. This comes over. So these are in the grid. This 3 is at the top of the grid. So if this shaded in, these come get marked. Let's now look at potentially this row of group 2 and 2. It looks like there are potentially 3 spaces for a 2. There's this one over here. There's a 2 that can be either of these around this, and then there's this 2 here. But I think there's something subtle about this option, which is what's going to be key to recognize. First, there's not a 2 that uses a cell, so this is the last of 3 spots for it. But if I took this, this is marked off if I believed it was part of a 2 clue, and it also puts in a 2 by 2 square. So there's a killing of the pattern if this is a 2 cell long group by limiting the connectivity to the rest of the grid. So there's no option for a 2 here. So there is a 2 around this block, and I can actually then mark in this cell. I can't come through all this channel. This has to be part of a group that's too large. This is part of a group that's too large. For this 3 clue to work, it's got to take this 3 below, so all these are spent. This 2 is spent. That still needs some connection constraints over here, but maybe it's worth thinking through what does it mean if this group of size 1 comes through here. If this 2 goes to the left, that shuts off this, it shuts off this, and based off the x's we marked in the grid, shuts off this. So again, we have a connection issue if we took this cell, so we don't take that cell. The 2 comes to the right. This actually is a group that comes here and here to complete this set. This comes across. We need to still get some connection in the grid, but maybe this 2 question mark is the first place to look for that. Where does that group of size 2 go? This is the only space left for it, so these get marked in. This comes over. We need to get these all connected in, so this comes up, this comes over. 2 question mark already has this, so this gets filled in. This is for connectivity, and this is for connectivity, and we finish the puzzle. So really good challenge. It used each of the large and small digits in different ways fairly well. We started by having these large groups that have to avoid each other, like this 4, this 4, this 4. They all sort of dodge left and right. Eventually getting the 3s coming up let us work into these 1, 1 asterisk 1 columns. These were pretty key to work through, and if you weren't used to turning on the edge helper notes, they may help you on the style a little bit to mark these edge boundaries we can't cross, particularly around 1 clues. They're helpful to track. That got us this upper left bit and into the finish of the puzzle. So hope you learned something through this video, and we'll see you again soon.